All right, so big announcement. Sam Harris is going to be on the program. The interview has actually already been recorded. Didn't want to announce it before it got recorded because I wanted to make sure that it actually was going to happen, to be totally honest. And sometimes these things can get moved around when the guest is a very busy person, as is Sam. The genesis of the interview is that I guess people in Sam's audience told him that he should appear on my show, and he got in touch and we set it up. There were no guidelines put in place in terms of what topics should be discussed or anything like that. I was free to ask anything I wanted. And the plan is we're going to publish some short clips over the weekend, and then the entire interview will air next week. It's a nearly hour and a half interview. So there's a practical question about how to include it in the broadcast shows. We could either take almost two entire whole shows, a significant portion of two shows in a row. We could split it into four pieces and do one piece Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's another possibility. In any case, the full nearly 90-minute interview is going to be posted in its entirety without any edits, cuts, or whatever on YouTube sometime next week as well. But I'm open to hearing from you about how we should manage it on the show. Some of the things that we discussed. Sam Harris had an interesting take on how he compares and contrasts Donald Trump and Osama bin Laden, which you might be surprised to hear is a comparison anybody would be making, but that was discussed. Sam Harris had some interesting thoughts about Trump voters. We talked about allegations of racism against Donald Trump. Sam gave his views on the media landscape, including his thoughts on Fox News. We got into guns and the sort of culture and religion of guns, as Sam Harris described it. There was an open borders discussion about immigration policy where we had some disagreements and some agreements. Sam Harris talked about reparations, which he finds something that he would likely support after looking at detailed plans for it, but believes is a strategic mistake for Democrats to be talking about going into 2020. We talked about terrorist manifestos, where I found what I believed was a double standard in some of the things Sam Harris had said. We talked about that. Now, my only concern, and I'm sharing kind of a lot here about the behind the scenes, this was a 90-minute interview, and Sam Harris has a lot to say about a lot of different things. Whenever I do an interview like this, I always come away feeling as though I could have totally prevented the interview from moving forward by arguing to the end every single disagreement that I have with the guest. And it's just not a practical way to do the interview. But every time I do this, I know that there is going to be some portion of the audience who will write to me and they'll say, David, the guest said X. How did you not challenge that? It makes you seem complicit. And I hope, my real hope with the Sam Harris interview, particularly since he was very generous with his time, is that people don't come away focused on, wow, well, you talked about these 10 things. On these two, you should have just pushed back, pushed back, pushed back. There's a practical nature to these things where if I want to torpedo the interview and prevent it from moving forward, I can do that. But at some point, it doesn't make practical sense. This has happened when I've interviewed academics. This has happened when I've interviewed extremists like Richard Spencer. So that is something I've sort of been thinking about since the interview was filmed. So Sam Harris interview, some clips on YouTube over the weekend, full thing next week. Other big news. We are going to be taking a 6-month vacation off of the show starting next week. I'm kidding. We just took a vacation recently and we just had Labor Day. So we're here for a while, but I will be coming to you over the next couple of months from a few different conferences and different locations, which I will be announcing as we get closer to them. We are also almost ready to do a round of website updates. There are going to be some updates to the members section to make it more functional based on popular demand. One really often requested feature is an easier way to gift subscriptions. Right now, to gift a subscription on our website, you basically go in and you just act as if you're signing up as someone else. You put in the recipient's name and the recipient's email, but your payment information, and it's kind of clunky. So we're exploring either some kind of coupon code, like you can buy a coupon code. If you want to buy someone a $60 membership, you buy a coupon code, you give it to them, then they can apply it to their membership. We're thinking of a couple of other ways as well. If you have specific website suggestions for davidpakman.com that you want implemented, this is a very, very good time to let me know. And then lastly, I've gotten a lot of inquiries about what's happening next week with the third Democratic presidential debate, which is on ABC, and I believe it's ABC Univision. As many of you know, I started live commentary of the second debate, which was on CNN last month. And within 2 minutes, CNN shut me down, gave us a copyright strike on YouTube. It was a fiasco. Their vice president of corporate communications or something publicly shamed me for wanting to do the commentary. And we ended up over on Twitch at twitch.tv/David Pakman. And since I've been streaming a lot on Twitch. So here's my plan. I am formally working through the process to get whitelisted by ABC to do live commentary of the debate. It could be a 1% chance that that works or a 90% chance. I don't know. I'm working with my YouTube rep to try to get ABC to say, David, it's okay for you to live stream on YouTube and do live commentary of the debate. If they okay that, that will be the plan because that's where we have the largest audience. We could conceivably have 20, 30, or 40,000 live concurrent viewers if we were allowed to carry out that full stream. If I am not able to get that approval, then I want to be sure I'm wording this responsibly, then I will likely go to other platforms and structure the commentary in a different way. And I will have announcements for you next week. But the debate is down to just one stage, 10 candidates on one stage. It'll be Thursday evening. Don't know what time it is. I'm guessing it starts sometime between 7 and 9, probably 7 or 8, I would guess. 10 candidates, one stage on September 12th. And one way or the other, I will do everything that I can to bring that live coverage to you, as we always try to do with these debates. Last thing, if people have, so the response from the themed shows when we've been on break has been phenomenal. When we were on actual show vacation a few weeks ago, we ran a full week of themed shows about extremism and white supremacy, socialism versus capitalism, automation, etc. Labor Day at the beginning of this week, we did a themed show about healthcare. People are loving these. The response has been more positive than anything else we've ever done on off days. The problem is there is not a limitless list of topics on which we have the material to pull together a themed show with. So my question to you is, can you send me some suggestions for what other themed shows we should look at doing? Space travel is one that might work. We've got enough material. Medicine would be another one. So not like healthcare, but actual medicine, like interviews we've done related to medical advancements, cancer treatment, etc. Mental health, maybe. I should actually be writing these down. Mental health would be another one. We've done enough now about everything from video game addiction to psychosomatic conditions to the stigma of mental health. Maybe that's another idea. But the point is, I want to hear from you themed show ideas. Best way to get in touch is the contact form at davidpakman.com. I am also on Twitter at dpakman, and the show is on Twitter at David Pakman Show. You can reach out to me that way. But the best way to get me your suggestions really is the contact form at davidpakman.com. Let's take a quick break. So much planned for today's program. I'm glad you're with us on this Friday. And a Friday, not before yet another long weekend, but a Friday before just a full, good old-fashioned week of shows and bonus shows coming up next week. Today's program is sponsored in part by Blinkist.com/Pakman. If you've not already heard about Blinkist, it's amazing. It's an app for your phone, tablet, or web browser. And what they do is they take nonfiction books, popular nonfiction, critically acclaimed nonfiction. They condense the book into a 15-minute audiobook. You get all the most important information and insights from each book, but you can soak up the entire essence of the book in one sitting. I've listened to a ton of books on Blinkist. One recent one is Robert Reich's new book, The Common Good. Also Bunk by Kevin Young, useful in preparing me for the pseudoscience miniseries that we're producing. And if you are a David Pakman Show viewer or listener, you can get a 7-day free trial by going to Blinkist.com/Pakman. If you're watching on YouTube, use the link in the video description. After the free trial, if you like it, you can get the full access to thousands of condensed audiobooks for about $5 a month. That's BLINKIST.com /PAKMAN.